Welcome to Mike Brown Barbecue. Today we're going to be doing poor man's brisket, aka chuck roast, on this 250-gallon offset smoker. Stay tuned. Alright guys, in today's video we're going to be doing poor man's brisket, also known as a truck roast. This is select grade right here. Got that from my local Brookshire Brothers. What we're going to do is get her opened up and season it up. I'm really not going to do no trimming on it. I don't see no need to. This little piece of meat right here, I'm not going to worry about taking it off. It'll just be there to protect the other meat. So I'm going to sacrifice this dude instead of trimming it up in hopes of getting some decent slices. Now this is a select grade piece of meat. It's very lean and not a lot of marbling. So how I'm going to combat that today is I'm going to shoot it up with some prime grade beef tallow. And I rendered out of some briskets here a while back. Kind of help this out. When you're doing this, you want to inject the meat like that and then shoot it up in there. Sometimes some little squirties will come out, and leave it a minute and that tallow will kind of solidify in there a little bit and harden up, and not a lot comes out. I'm gonna go ahead and do this little dude too. I'm gonna come in through the side right here. You can see the meat swelling up. Putting all that good fat in there, leave it there for a minute and it'll solidify up. Every now and then you'll get a little bit that comes out just like that. It's not no deal breaker. Pump it up with as much as you can get in there. And then whatever tallow you got left on top of your meat, just rub it in and make a binder out of it. And we'll season this up like we season every brisket up, with some pepper, seasonal salt, and kosher salt. Today I'm going to use a different pepper because I'm out of what I normally use. This is just what all they had. This is Adam's coarse ground pepper. I'll hit it with a generous coat of that. Get your sides. And this thing right here, don't matter what top and what bottom is. You just pick a side and go with it. Just a little bit of salt. And I'm going to go with a lighter coat today than what I normally go with my seasonal. Just going to hit it with a light coat. Just like that. Give it a good pat. Flip it over. Do the same thing with this side. Get a good amount of pepper. Pepper helps you build bark, so you want that stuff on there. Give it a good pat. Hit it with a small coat of kosher salt. Not a whole lot. Seasoned salt's already salty. And then hit it with a light coat of Bondler seasonal. We're going to call that good, guys. Make sure you get your sides. Alright, so that's the seasoning part of our chuck roast, aka poor man's brisket, shot up with prime grade tallow. I'll bring you guys back when I throw it on the pit. Alright guys, the time has come to throw our chuck roast on. I'm not going to go through fire management in this video. I'm going to make it short and sweet. But that's what our chuck roast is looking like. So I'm going to stick it only in the middle of this grate, scrunch it up real tight, and the thicker end toward the fire. And we'll check back on this thing here in about 2 hours. This is a 3-pound chuck roast. It's not going to take very long to smoke. I'm thinking by 2 hours I'll have my bark set and I'll be ready to wrap. We'll wrap it in peach butcher paper. I'm not really going to go by an internal temp. I'm just going to go by looks on it. It don't have a fat cap that renders. I don't think it's going to hurt nothing. If that bark looks good at 3 hours, then we'll wrap. So I'll bring you guys back here in a little bit. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we've hit about a 2.5 hour mark on our chuck roast. So let's see what it's looking like. It's got some decent bark on it. See, that's what it's looking like. The bark is definitely set. What I'm going to do is go ahead and check it for an internal temp, see where we're at, the thickest part. It's about right here in the middle. So we're at the 150 mark. So I think I'm going to let this ride for about another hour before I wrap it. So I'll bring you guys back here in an hour. Stay tuned. Alright guys, due to daylight, I'm going to have to wrap this a little bit sooner. But as y'all can see, it's got good bark. It's sitting at an internal temp of about 165. I'm going to go ahead and get it wrapped up. It's still going to form bark, just not as much bark as I was to leave it unwrapped. So we'll get this thing wrapped up. And just like you would wrap a brisket, I did put tallow down on here to help it out. Just like you would wrap a brisket, bring it over, kind of scrunch your sides in like this, around it, just like that. And fold this corner over, press it down flat, fold this one down over, press it down flat. Keep it tight. Hold it one time, tighten it up, fold your excess up like that, and fold it one more time. Scrunch your sides in. And we'll let that carry on till it hits an internal temp of about 195, what I'm going to shoot for. So it's kind of hard. I can't really feel it and tell if it's broke down. So I'm going to go by internal temp on this one and give it about a 4 or 5 hour rest before I slice it. So I'll bring you guys back when we check it for the final doneness. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're at the 5 hour mark on our chuck roast cook. It's time to check it for our final internal temp. So our tallow soaked up in it. It's keeping our meat nice and soft. It's time to check for an final internal temp. We are sitting at 196, 197 on the internal temp. I am going to call that good. The next time you guys see this will be when we slice it up after it takes about a 4 or 5 hour rest. Stay tuned. Alright guys, we're back. The chuck roast has been resting for roughly about 4 hours. It's time to unwrap it and see what we got. Alright, so that's what she's looking like right there. Got some decent bark on it. I sacrificed some of the bark by wrapping early, but I needed to get this thing done. So one thing I can tell right off Jump Street is it's kind of stiffened up on me, which makes me think maybe this wasn't such a good success. So only one way to find out. We'll slice it open. We'll start on this end right here and take slices from this end. You can see what that's looking like. It actually came out decently juicy. See what that's looking like right there. Oh, it's got a lot of juice in it. Pulls right apart. No problem. Let's take us another piece from right here. It ain't too bad. It's got a decent smoke ring on it, and it does have some moisture retention in it. That one pulled apart a little bit harder, but there's only one thing left to do. It's time to taste this. So, it's alright. I'm not overly impressed with it. Is it as good as a brisket? No. Nowhere near as good as a brisket. But is it an overall failure? No. It still tastes good. Will it replace brisket? No. But overall, not a failed project. Let's come this other end right here and get some slices off of it, see if there's a difference. It looks like there's 3 different muscles on a chuck roast. Here's the other side of it. It's got some juice in it. It ain't too bad. Let's try a piece from in here. This is that other separate muscle right there. And that little piece right there is probably the best bite I had out of it so far. And we got this little muscle right here. And that looks like that's been the juiciest piece so far. Let's give it a try. I wouldn't say this is a failed experiment, but it's definitely not going to replace brisket. So there you have it, folks. That's chuck roast smoked like a brisket. It ain't the worst thing I ever ate, but it ain't the best thing I ever ate either. It's smoky, peppery. You get the Lowry's in it. Everything doesn't look too bad. It could have been better. Will I go out of my way to do it again? Probably not. Brisket's better than this, but you know, everybody says you do one of these, it's like a poor man's brisket. But this is the second time I've did one, and I hadn't been that impressed with it. But maybe it's just a cut of beef that I smoked with it. Maybe next time I need to do prime or something. But all in all, still good eating. You have it. Chuck roast smoked like a brisket. If you guys like this video or enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And I will see y'all guys next time.